Hi. Happy New Year. So I know I've been gone for a while, but it just seems like I say the same thing. I never seem to have the space, like the personal space, to record a vlog or a journal anymore. So I've been focusing more on the little booktube thing because I trying to keep those regular. But so I wanted to tell this stupid story about something that happened a couple weeks ago. The VA clinic moved. It used to be literally 2 blocks away from my house. I could just walk straight down, didn't have to make any turns or anything, and just walk or ride my bike. It was either late September or October where I found out that the clinic was moving, and my first thought was like, oh crap. It was just this selfish feeling because I knew that if they were moving, it was going to be better for the veterans, a better building. But at the same time, my selfishness was like, but it was right there. They didn't have a date set on when the new building was going to be open. They said hopefully by the end of December or, before the new year. They moved last month and I had no idea because the last appointment I had, I think, was towards Thanksgiving or something. A lot of veterans didn't because unless you were going to the VA regularly, you had no idea that they moved. So they moved around December 11th. Like I said, I didn't know. I didn't get a phone call. Supposedly, the people who called to remind us of our appointment was supposed to tell us. I didn't get anything. I didn't know. I had walked over to the clinic, and the first thing I noticed was that there's this big blue sign right in front of the building that says Department of Veteran Affairs, and it was gone. And I'm like, oh no. And then I noticed there were no cars parked. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And of course, I look and the building's empty. And then there's a sign that says, we moved, this is where it is. I was just like, crap, because I didn't know where it was. I'm thinking I don't have enough time to get to this place. So I had tried to call the clinic and tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't know you moved. There's no way I can get there in time. And the automated thing kept looping. I kept pressing one to speak to somebody and it just kept looping. I didn't even get put on hold. I don't know what was going on with the phones that day. So I was just like, crap, I don't know what to do. Across the street, there was this man standing looking at me. He's like, oh, are you a veteran? Are you trying to get an appointment? Yeah, they moved. I had no idea they moved. A lot of my friends didn't know they moved. So there was nothing for me to do because I couldn't get in touch with him. I went back home. Eventually, I had gotten a phone call to set up labs because whenever I see my primary doctor, they schedule labs a week before, and eventually someone called and we rescheduled with my social worker. That was the appointment I was going to see. So I was just like, dang it, I was so frustrated. I didn't know. One thing you need to know about me, and this happens to a lot of people who suffer from PTSD. I guess it's just the amount of abnormal stress. I don't know, but it does affect your memory. Not just memories of like whatever caused the trauma, but just your memory period. And I thought it was just me, but apparently other people, I don't think it happens to everybody, but they forget dumb crap. Like they suddenly forget how to go to work. Like it's So I was really afraid because it's really really sad because before I left my abuser, I had no problem navigating the town. The town is not that big. It's a pretty small town. But after I left my husband and I got out of that abused robot mode, and the PTSD symptoms started coming, you would think I just moved here. I cannot remember anything. I only remember pretty much how to get to the library and like certain main streets, but I like my memory's so bad. So I was so scared because I'm like, I'm gonna get lost. So I looked it up. I looked up where it was, and it looked like it was pretty straightforward. It didn't occur to me originally to do the GPS thing on my phone. Derek said, well, I'll come with you to make sure you get there okay. So we go ride there. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's definitely a lot further from where the old clinic was, but as far as like making 10,000 turns, it's really straightforward. The only problem is I mean, I've been in so many different states, and this is just one of those things that happens. There's there's just places where there's no sidewalks, period. And it always drove me crazy when places don't have sidewalks, because I'm originally from New Jersey, which is a pedestrian friendly state. There's sidewalks unless you are really somewhere you're not supposed to be. But anyway, we get there, everything's fine. Spence, he gives me a little tour of the new building, and it's a really nice building. Believe it or not, I actually messed up coming back home. So I get on my bike. I could have sworn up and down I got left the parking lot the same way we came in, because like I said, it was straightforward. It's just further. No. Apparently, I went in the opposite direction. Here in this part of Nevada, because they're, Vegas and places like that are completely different as far as weather. It's been back and forth, even in December and even January. It's hot. I'm burning up today. It's been going back and forth, but that day it was cold. So I'm riding and riding and riding, and I actually rode probably double the distance before I mean, it takes me forever to realize something's wrong. And I remember riding by this cute little dog that was barking at me, and I'm like, did I see that dog on the way back? And I keep riding, and I see a bunch of goats, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I saw those goats. There's no way I would have not noticed those goats. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, of course, instead of trusting my realization that I was going in the opposite direction, I kept going to be sure. So I must have went 2 miles on bike for no reason. And what makes the situation worse, besides the fact that it was cold, I hadn't been riding my bike for a while, number one, and all the places I go aren't that far of a distance. So I was out of shape. Let's just put it like that. So finally I stop. I just stop, and I'm like, you need to turn around. I pull out my phone. What I like about the Google Maps is that they have a little tabs that you can push for car, for bike, and for walking, which is useful because you might want to take a different road if you're on your bike as opposed to driving. Makes sense. That was such a harrowing bike ride, mainly because like I said, I hadn't been on my bike for a while. I've just been walking everywhere. So I'm out of breath because I'm out of shape, and because I'm getting this resistance from like the cold weather. I'm so miserable. My legs are starting to hurt. It's cold. I pass the goats again. I pass the dog again. I pass by this horse. So I'm miserable, and I'm just like looking at my GPS because watching the mileage go down. You have 1 mile to go. And I'm like, I have to, and it's like, there's nothing I can do. I have to keep going. I can't stop. If I want to go home, I have to keep going. And I'm not going to get off my bike and walk, because then I'll be out in the cold even longer. On top of that, I just mentioned before, there's a lot of areas that don't have sidewalks. The road that I'm on for like the longest period of time, the road that actually turns into the parking lot of VA, that has no sidewalks. There were a couple areas where there was a lot of pavement after the end line, the white line, so I can ride on the side of the road on pavement without having to worry about cars feeling they need to like swerve off. But some of it didn't have that nice patch of pavement, so I'm riding on like pebble. I'm like bouncing like this. That gets old very quickly. On my bike seat, I have like a cushion on top of it that has a gel. It's supposed to make it a little softer, but I've had that cushion for years. As a matter of fact, I had it before I even came to this house, which was over 5 years ago. So it's almost like the way a pillow gets. When you have a pillow for a really long time, it starts to get flat. It doesn't really do anything for you. I'm basically bouncing on this hard seat on the gravel. Then on top of that, I had planned to put leggings underneath my jeans because I knew it was going to be cold and I was on my bike, and I forgot. Denim can get really cold against your skin, but also the gel that was in the bike seat, in the cushion, actually froze. So basically my crotch is banging up and down on an ice block in cold denim against this gravel. Tears are going down my face because I'm like, ah! Right. When I got home, it took about an hour for my crotch area to thaw out, and my thighs were throbbing for a good 4 or 5 days after that. And I was just like, wow. It felt like I hadn't ridden a bike in a year, but it had only been 2 weeks, and already my body wasn't used to it. It's just crazy how quickly your body can change. I have to be at the clinic in 2 days, so I'm definitely going to need to remember to put leggings on, and eventually I'm going to have to replace that bike cushion. But I am going to use my GPS. I think the reason why I wanted to tell this story is because I was so angry with myself that I made such a stupid mistake. I was so mad. How did I mess that up? It's like if you pulled out of your own driveway and went the opposite direction. That's what I felt like, because all I was doing was leaving the parking lot and I messed it up. I mean, I was fuming at myself. A week later, I was on my bike running errands. I was on my way back home and suddenly I felt a tug at my foot. And at first, for like the first 3 seconds, I ignored it until, and this was my right foot, until I'm pushing the foot down again and I feel this huge tug. I look down and realize that my shoelace had gotten caught in the pedal and was reeling me in. Silly me, I thought I tucked in my shoelaces into my sneaker, but I didn't. I'm like in the middle of the, well, not in the middle of the street, but I'm on like the side of the street and I'm like trying to pull myself over because now I'm attached to my bike and I'm just like, holy crap, what do I do? Because there's no way that I was gonna get myself out off of my own bike without busting my behind. I can't even put the bike down without me going down with it. But thankfully, where I pulled over on my bike, so funny saying pulled over on bike, but that's what I had to do. There was some workers that were taking down the string lights from the trees on this main street in town. So I was like, excuse me, sir, excuse me. And he's like, yes. I was like, I need your help. And he comes over. I'm like, I'm stuck to my bike. I had to have help because I was not gonna try to do that myself. And he got me out. And at first, we were both afraid that it had gotten knotted up to the point where I'd have to cut my shoelaces, which would suck because I don't have spare shoelaces. I should, but I didn't. Thankfully, it had wrapped perfectly around, so it was easy to unwrap it. He unwrapped it while I stood on my left leg balancing. And I'm so glad he was there and he was so nice about it. It was just one of those moments where I was just annoyed at myself again because it's like, duh. I think it's because I don't normally wear those sneakers. Usually the sneakers I wear are these like slip-on sneakers, so they don't even have laces, so it just didn't occur to me to tuck them in, and I was so annoyed. I had to laugh about it because I've always been an extremely clumsy person, and this is just part of my clumsiness. This is just the stuff that happens to me. So I tied my sneakers back up, tucked it back in, rode off, and I kind of smiled to myself because I'm like, I wonder what that man was thinking. Those stories were important. I just felt the need to tell those stories because I feel like if someone's having a rough day or maybe they feel they did something stupid, maybe they could watch this video and just remember that no human is perfect and we all do stupid stuff and embarrass ourselves. All you could do is hopefully laugh at the situation later, but also just remind yourself you're just human and keep on going with your life. That's it. There is nothing really new as far as developments. The dogs are still here. Zelda's on the other side of the bed. I have other things to talk about, but in a different video. I'm sorry that I wasn't around during the holidays. It was just funky. I got really ill for one thing, because there's like all sorts of nasty stuff going around. It's that time of year. I wasn't feeling well, and it was just all this stupid stuff kept happening, so I was just like screw that. So that's it for now. Once again, Happy New Year.